Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole and in today's video I'm going to be reading this article titled Sight and Limitations Equal in Every Direction by Zeteo, which is a combination of people, Lady Blount, FRSL, FNBA, and these other people who I'm not really sure, but it's hot. It is so hot. I don't know about where you guys are on the plane, but right now it's very hot. So I'll be reading and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. I had some revelations reading this myself, so maybe you will as well. This actually starts off with a poem and I'll just begin. 100 million miles and more, man's range of sight can't be, yet all are taught from shore to shore, much further they can see. Unlimited man's sight is not, none of his senses are, but theory, science, men forgot, they could not see so far. So that's just a really interesting poem. I think that was written by Lady Blount, and she actually has a lot more poetry regarding the flat earth that I've actually dug up quite a few of, and I'm going to be sharing that in an upcoming video I'm working on. Anyways, human sight is limited and equal in every direction, when there are equal conditions and possibilities. Most people would agree to this proposition at first sight, but few think of the results of the application of the principle. Atmospheric differences and variations in different directions cause the sight to be curtailed or cut short of its full length of view. Sometimes these differences obtain in one direction and sometimes in another, and local differences are innumerable as the stars. But although the possibilities of human sight are equal both vertically and horizontally, and also betwixt these two at every point, it is usually more or less cut short horizontally rather than vertically. When there are no solid obstructions such as buildings, hills, trees, etc., even then smoke, vapors, mists, etc. refract the light. Humidities in the air, as well as the eye's nearness to the earth, all prevent the full possibilities of sight horizontally. Looking vertically, sometimes clouds and mists preclude the fully extended reach of sight quite as effectually as do solid sight deterrents on the earth in the shape of bricks and mortar, etc. Even when the human eye is looking over the open sea or over a plain, its full range is rarely reached. The eye is always in the center of its own visual bounds, the full extent of which it can only see under favorable conditions, when all obstacles or obstructing causes are cleared away. The heavens are pictured down to meet the human eye, and no man can possibly see beyond his eyesight's range within his limited area. This perspectively appears enclosed by circular bounds extended as far as the individual's eye power can command on all sides. Each human eye is enclosed as in a tent by the limitations of its own formed canopy. In every position, on earth or on sea, a man is under the same conditions. His eye-formed canopy or tent is ever over him, and if he moves a few yards or 100 miles, he can never extend the limits of his own bounds, determined by his own eye and the limitations of light. The laws controlling these conditions are fixed. Every man's eye-formed bounds moves along with him bodily, new canopies ever forming round him wherever he may go, but his eye can only command right grasp of a few miles of circuitous space in breadth or height. The heavens sink down to his horizon, and consequently the heavenly lights in motion appear in a dome as though moving above his head, and wherever the field of motion of the heavenly lights may be, whether far or near above, they are reflected down the atmosphere to each human eye, and they appear within the eye's own bounds according to their located positions on the earth or sea. The images of the sun, moon, and wandering stars pass through the eye-formed tent according to their regular courses. That the projected image of the sun comes through the atmosphere into the horizon of every mortal's limited area and very near above the earth is an evident fact, as is shown in the following diagrams. So I'm going to obviously post the diagrams on the screen as I usually do. It is shown that the image seen of the sun within the eye-formed tent or canopy of every person on earth often appears within 2 or 3 miles above the earth or the spectator's eye. It was so when the drawing of diagram 3 was made. The sun rises perspectively into the horizon of the eastern atmosphere limits of each man's eye-formed bounds, or tent, gradually rising higher and higher until noon, when it reaches its zenith or central point of vision. These facts may be made clearer by the following diagram. Diagram 2. In the above diagram, let A represent the sun, B a magnifying glass. Those rays which fall vertically on the glass B pass and are converged at point C. This experiment can be tried any day when there is sunshine, and if the converging rays are focused on a piece of paper, as at C, the focused image of the sun will be seen and it will set fire to the paper. In the same way, the sunlight is focused in the atmosphere, and that which we see is a focused image born by sun rays in the air in harmony with the eye's nature. This diagram was taken from observation for the author by a scientist. S was the focused image of the sun shining through the clouds, and its rays diverged to the right towards some trees as at B, and to the left to a distant church. These rays made an angle of about 45 degrees with the earth, and the distance from A to B was 4 to 5 miles. Drop a perpendicular from S to C, then the distance over B, a little over 2 miles, equals the altitude of S, the focused image of the sun. If we were to rise higher in the air in a balloon, the focused image of the sun would rise higher with us, up to a certain height. Just as when we approach a rainbow, its arch recedes from us as we approach it. This diagram roughly represents a sectional elevation of the human eye. A may represent the aqueous humor, B the crystalline lens, which answers to the glass which converges the rays of light. C represents the eyeball filled with what is called the virtuous humor. I don't know. All these, with the cornea in front of the eye, are transparent, and they allow the light to go through the pupil of the eye to the membranous lining of the eyeball called the retina. If an arrow be placed before the eye, as at D, the rays of light will pass from it through the pupil and the crystalline lens in straight lines and fall on the retina at the back of the eyeball, where the arrow will be inverted as at E. For short distances, light travels in straight lines, but for very long distances of thousands of miles, it travels in great curves. When these facts are properly appreciated, it will be seen that the eye cannot stretch out further in one direction than another. In fact, the eye does not stretch out at all. It is light which comes into the eye. Strictly speaking, we never see anything outside the eye. All vision is within the eye or optic nerve, and we learn from our other senses to associate distance with the various objects we see. But even after much experience, these distances are often deceptive. For instance, mountains look much nearer before rain than after it. When we have digested these facts, we shall see the absurdity of thinking that the sun and stars are many million miles away from the earth. No architect makes a light or fireplace 1,000,000 times greater than the house he wants to light up and warm, and the Creator was too good an architect to make such a blunder. The sun and moon and stars were made to light and warm this, the only world, and no other world has ever been discovered by astronomers. And then we have a little poem here. Where a man horizons be, no 1 yard further can he see. Man's eye-formed tent is God's provision to frame and circle all his vision. In all directions he can see, his eye line's length the same will be. The horizontal line of sight is equal to its length upright. That is, straight on before his eye is just the same up vertically, controlled by certain limits too. The telescope extends the view, and its extended line of gaze is equal in its length all ways. All mortal things have limit scopes, including man-made telescopes. But globites think their eyes can trace 100 million miles in space. That is, when looking towards the sun, they say, the stars are further on. Some stars they see are, so they say, 500 million miles away. But the Creator of the sky created too the human eye, so doubtless 'tis a wise decision that man is limited in vision. The one who said, "Thou shalt not die," deceived man also re his eye. But all man's dome formed by his eye holds all he sees of earth or sky. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the poetry in there. Along with the magnifying glass diagram, I had a really big revelation. As a kid, I would always try to do that with a magnifying glass or even my glasses. I would try to set paper on fire or even an anthill when I was a little bit of a pyro as a child, but I never could actually get it to set fire. And I always would wonder why. I'd always think, oh, this is a myth or something, but I just probably wasn't doing it at the sun's height when it was directly above my head at the noon time or around noon to like 1 or 2 p.m. depending on where you live. That's when the sun is at its highest. It's no shadow time where, you know, the sun is directly above, so your shadow is like not really there. And that was just a really big wow moment for me, and I was just realizing how I've been doing that wrong. So yeah, and I hope this gives some clues as to why our eyes are showing us what they show us. It made me think a lot about the dome itself and how maybe the dome is just an illusion caused by our eyesight, and how maybe there isn't a dome at all. I'm not sure, but when I dig up these old articles from the past, I always am finding something that I actually haven't heard of yet, and I think it's interesting to bring back stuff from the past where maybe that information was suppressed and forgotten over time. Thank you guys so much for all of you who appreciate me reading these, and link will be below in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I really hope you can give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the love and support you give me always, and I hope you guys have a great day.